Distant Thunder, or as is known in America, Shattered Skies, is part of the PlayStation 2's greatest hits category. Why is this, you may ask? Well, because the game is friggin' awesome. That's why. It's got jets, bombs, missiles, and let's not forget that this is the first ace combat game that was released for the PlayStation 2. So how does it hold up? Well, in this video review I'll be telling you why, and just like in my last review, I'll start with story. So let's begin. When it comes to games like these, the story tends to take a bit of a backseat, and it's understandable due to what genre this game is in. I mean, flight combat games don't have to have a good story, but it certainly is welcomed, and for me I found the story in Distant Thunder to actually be quite decent and interesting at times. The main story is about stopping a super weapon built from the Erusians known as Stonehenge. This weapon is powerful enough to shoot down meteors from space and has now been transformed to a deadly anti-air weapon by the enemy, which are the Erusians, and it's up to you, call sign Mobius 1 and other pilots from the independent state of Allied forces to stop it. However, the story isn't just about that. The game also follows a young boy who's living in one of the towns captured by the game's enemy, and as the game progresses he narrates us through how the tide of war is changing as the good guys slowly gain back control over the mainland and push out the enemy forces, and these cutscenes are presented in a kind of realistic anime style, which at first it's quite appealing, but it's kind of like watching a slideshow. I mean, more effort should have gone into these. It would have been, really cool to have them moving and all that sorts, but we don't really get that here. It does do a good job though of painting a clear picture of how we, the player, and well, Mobius 1 are affecting the outcome of the war. And overall, the story of Mobius 1 and his exploits are also quite interesting, even if he is a silent protagonist. But we all know what matters, and that's gameplay. Luckily for you and I, Ace Combat 4 has no real problems in this department. Controlling your aircraft is simple enough. You can adjust your throttle, your rudders and all the other good stuff with just the press of a button or the flick of an analog stick, and you even get to put your flying skills to the test when it comes to landing on aircraft carriers and so on, but that's only if you really want to, since those parts can be skipped. The interface is also very useful and easy to understand, as the game will highlight your fellow squadron members, it will display your enemy targets across your screen, whether it's air or ground, and you even get a map on the bottom of your screen that displays the entire battlefield and what targets are about, proving to be a very useful tool indeed. Most importantly though, the game is just fun and very easy to get into. There are various different mission types, and they are structured in a way so that while I was playing them, with each encounter I was learning from them, with the first few missions involving taking out basic targets such as a slow formation of bombers or destroying big ground targets such as hangars, and with these missions they kind of ease you into the game. After that, obviously the more challenging missions then present themselves, and you'll find yourself in large aerial battles which are just completely nuts, and then you'll find yourself having to at the same time take out these targets whilst also defending friendly ground targets, and then also avoiding other obstacles that I won't be spoiling here. But what I'm trying to say is that the game is going to get a little bit crazy at times, and you'll have to be dealing with a lot whilst also having to keep an eye out with your score and mission timers so you don't get a mission fail, because that will happen a few times, and sadly this game does not even have checkpoints, so keep that in mind. Don't be too worried though, you're an ace pilot, or you're meant to be anyways, and with that title comes a bunch of different aircraft and weapons to make use of. As you play through the game, various different jets and weapons are put up for purchase, with most of them having their own unique aspect about them. An example being that a plane such as the A-10 Thunderbolt is superior in air-to-ground combat, as it boasts an arsenal of cluster bombs, advanced air-to-ground missiles, and even its famous 7-barrel Gatling cannon. However, if your main target is pesky fighters, and most of the time it is, then you might want to wait and unlock something along the lines of the Su-37 or something similar, because planes like that have great mobility, speed, and fantastic fighting capabilities when it comes to air-to-air combat. Or you might want to unlock something which has a middle ground for both air-to-ground and air-to-air. What I'm trying to say is you are definitely not short of aircraft to choose from when playing this game. If there is one problem I had though when playing through this game, it's the fact that it isn't really much of a long game. Some missions can take around 10 to 25 minutes or so, and there are only 18 missions in total, but like I said before, it's fun to play through them and they are quite varied, so that's a plus in my books. Graphically, the game does a pretty good job, all things considered. This is a PS2 game after all. All planes were modelled quite realistically and with as much attention as possible for the time. Ace Combat 4 was released in the year of 2001 and the game has aged graphically but still looks quite good. The only obvious problem is the ground textures, as they can look quite flat and ugly, but only if you fly real close to them, as everything ends up looking like one big blur of a texture, but from far away the game does look good. Even though that kind of does sound rude, but with that said, it's time to wrap this up and give you my conclusion. Ace Combat 4 really is one of the best air combat games there are on the PS2, and what's even better is that there are 2 more games on this console that belong to the Ace Combat franchise, so maybe I'll get a review going for them sometime in the future, but as of now, if you're looking for an engaging and fun game for your PlayStation 2 collection, then pick this game up and give it a go. You can find it for dead cheap on Amazon and eBay. I picked it up for around £3, but with that said, hope you enjoy the video and do feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching.